in this transitional time. We just had Memorial Day weekend. I know the two of us were talking about it, and it included another round of canceled plans for some, but other people had to adjust and all of a sudden say, can my outdoor plans come indoors, and how do we navigate this conversation of, do you feel comfortable being inside with me, Celeste?
Yeah, I think the biggest reason that we find this awkward is because we hesitate to bring it up. But here's the danger here. The more you don't talk about something, the more it gathers this sort of hint of shame about it. There's nothing to be ashamed about when it comes to how comfortable you feel about your health. Um, if you had an immune deficiency, you would be very careful in asking questions about how a party's going to go. You would have to, for the sake of your own health. And you should just approach it this way as well. If you had a friend who had immune deficiency, you would probably say, hey, I have to move inside. How do I keep you safe? Right? Because you care about them. And the more that we talk about this normally, the more we normalize it, the more we make it something that doesn't need to be awkward. It can just be talked about openly. So, even if you're outdoors, make sure that you're inviting people over that you know well enough, so there's no question. If they tell you they're vaccinated, there's no question in your mind. And the other thing is just ask.
And it's interesting because we have the Islanders, they're in the playoffs, right? So all of a sudden the increased capacity, you've got the Yankees and the Mets, games are being played again. But when you take that first time, and I did it, I went to an Islander game already. I've got another one coming up, right? And it was so exciting. But there's also this weird feeling. I wouldn't call it fear, but there's something like a bit of a hesitation to jump right back in again and be around so many people because we've been living in this fear for so long.
Yeah, and keep in mind that the past year has been traumatic. And it's been more traumatic for some who've lost people, and maybe less traumatic for others. But everyone has experienced trauma over the past year. I sometimes think of it as though we're coming out of a world war, like how it must have felt after World War I or World War II. And we've all been through something. And it feels odd that you're not having to worry about that anymore. These headlines that occupied every bit of your time now there's other news creeping in, right? So that's sort of where we are. And again, it's best to simply get it out in the open. Let me ask you something, Elizabeth. Let's say you're watching a theater performance, and the lead actress is in a dramatic scene, and her wig starts to slip off her head.
Okay.
Right? You will be able to pay attention to nothing else.
No, absolutely
right?
not. No.
It doesn't matter how good
it is. Be able to look at her.
Right. I mean, at some point, she just has to acknowledge it and either fix it or take it off, right? And it's sort of here as well. As much as we don't talk about this, it's still on everybody's mind. So just deal with it. Just deal with it.